Good morning. The October 28, 2022 Veterans Land Board meeting will come to order pursuant to section 31.015 of the Texas Natural Resources Code. I'm chairing this meeting in the commissioner's absence as chief clerk of the General Land Office as the commissioner is away on state business. The October 28, 2022 meeting of the Veterans Land Board is being held in person at 1700 North Congress Avenue, Stephen F. Austin Building, and by video conference call is authorized under Texas Government Code Section 551.125. Access to the meeting by members of the public was published in accordance with the Texas Register, Texas Open Meetings Act. Any member of the public who wishes to address the Veterans Land Board should indicate so at the start of the meeting or during any public comment period. It's like the first item on the agenda is item number 1, approval of the minutes from the July 29, 2022 Veterans Land Board meeting.
I'll move approval of the minutes from the July meeting.
Thank you. I will second. So the motion is made, seconded, and carries unanimously to approve the minutes. Next item on the agenda is item number 2, consideration and possible action on loan rates.
Good morning, board, staff. I'm Monica Galuski, the Director of VLB Bond Funds Management. Agenda item 2, consideration and possible action on loan rates in the Veterans Housing Assistance Program. The mortgage rate for the Housing Assistance Program is set weekly and is determined using a constructed FHA VA market rate to which a discount or variable adjustment is applied. The market constructed rate less the variable adjustment determines the base mortgage rate for the program. Eligible service-disabled veterans receive an additional 50 basis point rate benefit. The board-approved variable adjustment is currently arranged between 15 and 65 basis points. Staff is requesting that the upper end of the variable adjustment be modified to allow a discount from the market constructed rate of up to 150 basis points. Since January, VLB mortgage rates have risen from a base rate of 3.13% to the current rate of 6.69%. The low cost of VLB debt, combined with the dramatic increase in mortgage rates, has created an opportunity to, when prudent, increase that benefit to veterans participating in the program. Staff will maintain its current practice of monitoring program economics, demand by eligible veterans, and liquidity, and will set mortgage rates accordingly. This is the initial step in a plan to pass savings on to the veterans using this program while market conditions afford us that opportunity. Staff is exploring strategies that work economically and from a tax compliance standpoint to present to the board for your consideration at future meetings. Staff recommends that the board authorize the modification of the variable adjustment from a range of 15 to 65 basis points to a range of 15 to 150 basis points below the constructed FHA VA mortgage rate. Concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions you may have.
Thank you. So I assume bottom line, this just gives you and staff more flexibility with kind of what we're seeing in the market at this time. And it just gives you greater ability to enhance the discounts for the veterans.
It does.
Any questions from the board?
I just want to announce I'm here. Had to join by cell phone, but we're here and I heard the report.
We could see you. Great.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions from the board on item number 2?
No questions. I'll move approval as requested to provide the increase in the variable adjustment discount for up to 15 to 150 basis points.
I second the motion.
All right, there's a motion made, seconded, and carries unanimously to approve item number 2. Next item on the agenda is item number 3.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. For the record, my name is Raul Gonzalez, Deputy Director, Land and Housing Loan Programs. Item 3, staff is recommending approval to increase the amount that from a third-party vendor charges to review survey for accuracy when a borrower requests a partial release or severance. This amount is not to exceed $150. Currently, the cost to the borrower is $125. This has increased to approximately $136 per survey reviewed. The additional cost is currently being paid by the Veterans Land Board. Even though we're recommending up to $150, the borrower will only be charged the actual cost, which is currently $135.32. With that, I will answer any questions.
Thank you. Any questions from the board?
No, it sounds like a good idea.
All right, is there a motion to approve?
I move approval.
I'll second.
Motion is made, seconded, and carries unanimously to approve item number 3. Next on the agenda is item number 4.
On item number 4, staff is also recommending the approval to program guidelines for the Veterans Housing Assistance Program to allow for the financing of a home which meets the building standards and requirements of House Bill 3215. This allows a separate performance-based avenue to achieve energy efficiency in homes, and it gives the veterans and builders a new option in new construction loans under the Veterans Housing Assistance Program. With that, I'll answer any questions.
So I'm not sure if I fully understand the request here. So is this allowing another way to be certified and meet the standard? Or is this meeting a new higher standard that the state has set? Could you just provide some more background there?
Yeah, it's adding another option. The HERS rating and the Energy Star certification will still be one option. This is another option for veterans to be able to qualify for the program. It's basically the same calculation that is being used right now for the HERS rating. Again, it's just another avenue that affords the builder and the borrowers to use alternative methods to calculate the energy efficiency rating index.
Okay, so we're providing more flexibility in being able to meet the standard, not making the standard more difficult for the veterans.
No, correct.
I appreciate the clarification. I had kind of the same question. I didn't understand it, but now I do. Thank you.
All right, is there a motion to approve?
I'll move approval as requested.
Seconded.
Thank you. Motion is made, seconded, and carries unanimously to approve item number 4. Next on the agenda is item number 5.
Staff recommends a final adoption of the proposed amendment, which was presented to the board back in July. This would allow current and discharged members of the United States Space Force to be eligible to participate in the Texas Veterans Land Board programs. The proposed amendment was published in the Texas Register on September 23rd through October 24th, and no comments were received during this period.
Move approval. I move approval.
And I will second.
Motion is made, seconded, and carries unanimously to approve item number 5. Next on the agenda is item number 6.
Staff is recommending the approval of the publication of a proposed rule change in the Texas Register. This would allow the board to increase the current fee of $75 to an amount not to exceed $150 for the preparation, review, or approval of any documents, including a deed of trust, a deed of issued when the loan is paid in full. The $75 currently being collected is $25 below what is being charged at this time from a third-party vendor. Currently, that $25 is being paid by the Veterans Land Board. At the end, and so we are asking the board to allow us to publish for public comment an increase from 75 to 150, but in no time will we charge the veteran more than the actual cost. And then at the end of the public comment period, staff will seek final approval from the board.
Raul, I'm just reading through the notes here. So DMI is saying they want to raise the rate from 75 to 100, but we're asking for the ability to go as high as 150. Is the 100 what we expect to see right now from DMI going forward, or?
Yes, sir. The reason we went up to 150, it gives us the flexibility of coming back to the board next year. If it goes up, $5 or $10, it gives the flexibility to increase it as needed, but not to, it will never exceed the actual cost as long as it stays below 150.
And this item is to put it out for public comment. It's just
Correct.
kind of the first step in the rulemaking process before we come back and finally authorize the.
Correct. We'll go out for public comment just like we did on the Space Force initiative. And then once we get all that done, we'll present it back to the board. Correct.
Got it.
Now, the $75 fee has been in place for many, many years, and there's never been an increase. So that was, like I said, with the cost, the board has been absorbing that cost over the last several years.
It sounds to me like we're just kind of cleaning things up administratively to give a little more flexibility while still adhering to the standards that we've used in terms of charging our veterans. Generally correct?
That is correct. Yes, sir.
Very good. Okay. Mr. Chair, I move approval.
Motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion is made, seconded, and carries unanimously to approve item number 6. Next item on the agenda is number 7.
On item number 7, it's going to be a non-action item. There are no appeals before the board today.
Okay. Non-action item on 7, we will move to number 8.
On number 8, there were 9 tracks offered for sale during this last online bidding that ran from September 5th through October 25th. We received a total of 159 bids, resulting in 9 high bids, totaling just over $1.1 million. Staff is requesting that the board award all high bids and meet the qualifications for the land program. And with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Yes, sir. Are there any questions from the board?
No.
I'll move approval
Motion to
of those
approve.
bids.
Was that a motion? I didn't hear it.
Yeah, I said I move approval of those
All right.
bids. for those
I second the motion.
Motion is made, seconded, and carries unanimously to approve item number 9. Next is number 10.
Actually,
Or did I
that item A was the one that was just.
That was
approved.
8 that was just approved.
correction? So motion made, seconded, and carries unanimously to approve number 8. Apologize for that. Next is item number 9.
Staff is requesting that the board take forfeiture action on the resolution before you, except accounts where sufficient funds are received to avoid that action. 15 accounts are being presented for forfeiture action today. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
For the record, we seem to have lost Judd, but we can still proceed with the quorum. I just want to give you a heads up.
Okay.
It looks like he may have dropped off.
Any questions on number 9?
Yeah, and I've asked this question before, and I just want to voice it again. I guess when I look at these loan amounts, particularly the first 3, and the one for Mr. Harris, it looks like the loan is 95% paid off, and yet they have this delinquent amount. I just want to ensure that we've done everything possible to try to, close out the account and make sure those individuals who've obviously paid over a long period of time have a chance to close the loan. But
Yes.
I just want to ensure that.
Yeah, we'll continue working with them. Staff has worked tirelessly with all of these account holders, and we will continue to work with them and come to a resolution. On a couple of these, the veterans have been deceased, and we've been trying to contact the next of kin to try and see. And we hope that once the sign goes up, that they'll see it and they maybe make contact with us. So we have about 2 or 3 of these that are under this type of scenario where the veteran's been deceased and we have not been able to contact the next of kin. But we will continue working with them, as much as we can.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, is there a motion to approve item number 9?
So moved.
Seconded.
Motion is made, seconded, and carries unanimously to approve item number 9. Next is item number 10.
Staff is requesting that the board act on the resolution before you today. The resolution lists accounts to be considered for order of sale. These 6 accounts will become the tracks for the next forfeited land sale. We're requesting the board's authority to pull any account that reinstates prior to the sale date, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions from the board?
No questions.
None.
Right, is there a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve.
Seconded.
Motion is made, seconded, and carries unanimously to approve item number 10. Next item on the agenda is number 11.
Staff is requesting that the board set the next quarterly electronic forfeited land sale bidding period to begin December 5th, 2022 at 8 a.m. with a bidding deadline of January 24th, 2023 at 5 p.m.
Move approval, Mr. Chair.
Second.
Thank you. The motion is made, seconded, and carries unanimously to approve item number 11. Thank you. Next item is number 12.
Good morning, Chief Clerk Havens and Mr. Moody, Mr. Scott. Item number 12 is consideration possible action on GLO contract number 20083 000C002. This is the contract with Bartlett Cook General Contractors, BCGC, for the construction of the Tuskegee Airmen State Veterans Home in Fort Worth. This change order is brought about because of special funding from the legislature under special session, Senate Bill SB 8. It's approximately $3.6 million as noted in your memo, and your memo has the breakdown of that change order. It's coming to the board because it represents a material change to the contract. And in accordance with VLB contract approval policy, we are seeking board approval.
And I would note that we were very fortunate. We worked during the last special session to secure some federal funding specifically for HVAC and others to help aid in COVID with some of the isolation wings and others. So this won't come out of the VLB funding. It's direct pass through from the funding we received.
The majority of it, over 2/3, is a special appropriation. There is approximately 900,000 and change coming out of VA contingency funding.
Got it. Thank you. Any questions from the board?
No, I have no question. Just a comment for the staff. I'm proud of the fact that they're so heads up on these things. As you were saying, it's working hard before has produced some good results, and we're seeing multiple examples of it in this agenda. I congratulate the staff for doing such a good job.
I think everyone here is proud of the work and proud to bring this home to our veterans.
Just one question on the second item mentioned there, the add isolation wing. I assume for the cost, we're not actually talking about adding, any kind of construction there. Is that just providing the flexibility to turn a certain wing or certain rooms into isolation in the case of an outbreak?
I believe that is the case. I'm presenting on behalf of Jeff Kaufman, who couldn't be here today. But I believe that to be the case. Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll move approval as requested for the upgrades.
Seconded.
Motion is made, seconded, and carries unanimously to approve item number 12. Next on the agenda, number 13.
Item number 13 is a change to the, excuse me. At the July 28th board meeting, the board approved the award of a contract for the management operation of the Richard A. Anderson Veterans Home. At that time, we did not seek an extension of the current contract. However, given some administrative delays in issuing the award and ongoing negotiations, we will need to extend the existing contract in order to allow for transition time and conclusion of negotiations. Right now, the estimate for full transition is February 1, where the new operator will take over the home, and transition kickoff should start within about a week, around November 1st. That'll give the incoming operator enough time and flexibility to take care of all their administrative matters. One of the biggest delays is going to be with regard to the medical records vendor and how quickly they can switch over from the existing provider to the new provider. And we are seeking, bottom line, we are seeking a permission to extend the existing contract to January 31st, 2022, and also the flexibility to allow the executive secretary to extend further month by month if needed.
And so Anthony, this is to ensure that the existing contract with Touchstone will be extended until the board, until staff is comfortable that VSI is in place, the new operator. And then at that point, there'll be some transition time, and then VSI's contract would be executed and they would take over.
That is correct.
Sorry, Judd, I thought you raised your hand. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's no problem. That was a good question also. So sometimes when you have a transition between operators, the outgoing operator may be disgruntled or not very energetic or whatever is there. I assume there's no indication of that with Touchstone, and they're giving full cooperation for a smooth and full transfer.
That is correct. They are cooperating fully. They've both operators, both VSI, the incoming operator, and Touchstone, the outgoing operator, have experienced transitions before, especially between the two. So like past transitions, there's full cooperation between the incoming and outgoing
Glad to hear that.
operator.
Thank you. I move approval.
I'll second.
Motion is made, seconded, and carries unanimously to approve item number 13. Next on the agenda is number 14.
Item number 14 is just a notification, informational item, non-action item to notify you that the contract with VSI for the management operations of the Watkins Logan Texas State Veterans Home in Tyler has been fully executed, and we are under the new contract term as of June 1st, 2022.
Any questions from the board on that?
No.
None.
All right, thank you. That being a non-action item, we will move to item number 15.
Item number 15 is similar to the previous item. This is a notification, non-action item that the contract for the Ambrosio Geelan Texas State Veterans Home in El Paso has been executed and effective as of June 1st, 2022. And that contract is also with VSI.
Any questions?
None.
No.
All right, thank you. Again, non-action item. We will move to number 16.
This is also a non-action item,
All right.
so the board knows.
Good morning. My name is Kelly McBride, and I'm the Director of Contract Management for the Texas General Land Office, which also means for the Veterans Land Board and the School Land Board. Thank you. Sorry. Attached is a report that summarizes the contracts that are under the purview of the board, with those contracts being designated as major, which is over $1 million per the contract policy, and those that are minor, which the policy allows the GLO to handle administratively. You will see, I did want to note that there is an increase in the number of contracts, either major or minor. That's difference in number from the last time we presented the report has to do with COVID funding. Again, we received funding from the legislature, which allowed us to move forward on the HVAC systems at all the vet homes. We've also received from the federal government, from the VA, additional funding to help support the vet home operations to ensure that our veterans are being cared for in the realm, of items related to COVID. And that is why there is an increase in the number of contracts that you'll see on the list as we move forward. But with that, there's detailed, and the report is broken out into your major contracts, which the board sees, the minor, and then those are in process, 2 of which you guys just approved. The board just approved several moments ago. So with that, if you have any questions, please let me know.
Any questions from the board?
None.
No.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I would like to take a minute to thank Kelly and her team. It often goes overlooked, but there is a lot going into management of homes, cemeteries, and loans, and we appreciate the work. As a non-action item, we will move to number 17.
Good morning, board. Dr. John Kelly, Deputy Director of Texas State Veteran Cemetery Program. This is a non-action item for information only. The Purple Heart was created by General George Washington in 1782 to recognize bravery in battle, and today is awarded to servicemen and servicewomen who have been injured or have made the ultimate sacrifice in combat. Purple Heart is the oldest active United States military medal, and the VLB is proud of Texas' approximately 47,000 living recipients of the Purple Heart. We revere the memories of the many Texans who have earned their medals after giving their lives in service. The purpose of the Purple Heart Trail is to create a symbolic and honorary system of roads, highways, bridges, and other monuments that give tribute to the men and women who have been awarded the Purple Heart Medal. The Purple Heart Trail accomplishes this honorary goal by creating visual reminder to those who use the road system that others have paid a high price for their freedom to travel and live in a free society. In recognition of our state veteran cemeteries as the final resting place of numerous Purple Heart awardees, the Texas State Veteran Cemeteries were all designated as Purple Heart destinations as part of the Purple Heart Trail. The Texas State Veteran Cemetery at Abilene was designated on the 22nd of September this year. The Coastal Bend State Veteran Cemetery at Corpus Christi was designated on the 26th of September this year. The Rio Grande Valley State Veteran Cemetery at Mission was designated on the 27th of September this year. And the Central Texas State Veteran Cemetery at Killeen was designated on the 5th of October of this year. Each cemetery now proudly boasts a sign announcing the Purple Heart designation, as well as reserved parking spaces for our combat wounded. Texas once again leads the country, as we are now the first state in the entire nation to have achieved Purple Heart designation for all of our state veteran cemeteries. If you are to go onto the Military Order of the Purple Heart website right now, you'll actually find all 4 of those listed under the Texas Purple Heart destinations. I would like to say special thanks to our on-site representatives, cemetery staffs, and local Purple Heart chapters for making this happen. Questions?
Any questions from
I
the board?
I'd just like to say thank you to Dr. Kelly and for the staff for pursuing this. And I think it's a great honor for our Texas veterans, and I greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I've even started to see some parking places in some of the commercial establishments that have a placard up there. It doesn't say Purple Heart, but it says veteran parking. So yeah, good job
Yes, sir.
raising the issue. Much appreciated.
Yes, I say I was fortunate enough to attend the ceremony in Killeen, and that was amazing. It was good to see that come to fruition. So we appreciate it. Next on the agenda is item number 18.
Item number 18 is also for information only, no action required. The National Cemetery Administration of the Veterans Administration plans to award a $5 million grant for expansion at the Coastal Bend State Veteran Cemetery in Corpus Christi. Although it was reduced from the original 1.1 million that we had requested, this grant will still fund 3,130 pre-positioned crypts and 1,020 columbarium spaces, along with all associated grading, drainage, irrigation, and landscaping. And that should provide us sufficient burial spaces for about the next 10 years. The project kickoff is tentatively scheduled for the 14th of November, and construction will actually commence late next spring. If additional funds become available, they'll be used for some alternate projects, including pavement and roadway widening, 10-inch irrigation line repairs, Space Force, and automatic gates. The grant itself will finalize in May of 2023. We're currently using our 10% state-provided funds upfront to begin the architectural and engineering process. And those will actually be reimbursed later on in the grant process, making the grant 100% federally funded. I'd also like to say a special thanks to everyone who takes a role in grant preparation for assistance in putting this together.
Any questions on the Corpus grant?
I have just a kind of an informational thing. Are the standards that we follow in these the same as the standards for all the national cemeteries? So when we, everything we're doing is reflected elsewhere?
Yes, sir. That's actually one of the conditions of grant acceptance, is that we agree to all the construction associated with it is all done by VA standards, as they do at all of the national cemeteries.
Okay, and then a related question for the items that we're reserving for future funding. Are those already on a list of things we're going to work on or planning to do, or do we have to wait until the money comes in to do it?
Yes, sir. We're now beginning the design process, the architectural and engineering pieces of this. Those projects will also be designed as a function of that project, and it's just a matter of finding money to be able to fund those.
Good job. Thank you.
All right, next is item number 19.
Item 19 is also an informational topic, no action required. The National Cemetery Administration of the Veterans Administration did not award a grant for the establishment of a new cemetery at Lubbock. The grant will remain on the priority list as the highest priority group 2 project and will await funding in the next fiscal year. There is a small chance of additional or alternative funding, and the Vet Cemeteries program will remain vigilant in this regard. I provided you a snippet, a miniaturized snippet of the fiscal year 23 priorities. For your knowledge, the decrement line established itself at item number 20, and our Lubbock Cemetery was item 22. So we came very, very close, but we were not able to get that grant. I do want to say thank you for everyone, to everyone that works on the grant process. This was a very short notice grant. We had 3 weeks to put the grant together and get it submitted, and did so. And it was really pretty much yeoman's work on everyone's behalf, and I certainly appreciate them. Subject to your questions.
To be clear, it looks like the VA did not fund any new cemeteries again this year.
Yes, sir, that's correct. And in the snippet I provided you, I highlighted item number 10, which is the Corpus Christi grant that I just talked about. And then item number 22 is the establishment grant for the new Lubbock Cemetery. And so it is the highest of priority group 2, which are the establishment grants, but it was not funded, and therefore no establishment grants were funded.
Right. Next item on the agenda is number 20.
Item number 20 is for information only, no action required. The Coastal Bend State Veteran Cemetery in Corpus Christi is in dire need of a facelift regarding fencing. And you can take a look at the pictures that I provided in the memorandum. So at the front gate, there is decorative black metal fencing, but it only goes about 50 yards to the east and to the west of the main gate. And then, that looks really good. It presents the neat, orderly, and appropriate appearance that we want, but the fence then turns into mesh and barbed wire for the rest of the visible perimeter on the south side and on the west side. Passersby on I-37, the I-37 frontage road and Carbon Plant Road, that's exactly what they're looking at, is a very nice fence at the front gate, and then it turns into something that none of us want to see. As you can see in the pictures I provided. So the VLB has provided funds, and a contract has been awarded for a vendor to install approximately 2,500 feet of matching black decorative metal fencing along the south side and on the west side, which are the areas that are visible to the public. The cost includes demolition and removal of the old fencing, installation of the new fencing, and a 5-year warranty on the fence itself. Construction will begin shortly, and the materials have all been procured, and we expect arrival in about the next 2 to 3 weeks, and then the process of construction itself will only take 2 weeks. As I said, I provided you with some pictures. Feel free to gasp as you look at those pictures, but we're going to get that fixed here shortly. Subject to your questions.
All right.
I think it's a great idea and I appreciate the initiative on that. I've been down to visit the Corpus Cemetery and have seen that fence, and it looks great by the gate. So expanding it, I think, will be a great facelift.
Yes, sir. Of note, our other three cemeteries all have a nice decorative black metal fencing all around the visible perimeter. I think most people have probably been by the Killeen Cemetery and noticed it there. That's what we're going to get at the Corpus Cemetery as well. And so all four cemeteries then will have that same decorative fence approach.
Good. Thank you.
Sir.
All right, finally, item number 21.
Item number 21 is also for information only, no action required. I briefed this at our last VLB board meeting. I thought I'd come back and give you a little situation update. And so as I reported in July, we did receive funds, about a little over $500,000 worth of funds to initiate construction for in-ground cremated remains plots. We have almost completed, within a week or so of completion, at Killeen. We've gotten a start now at Corpus Christi, and that'll be followed closely by Abilene. We will get those completed by the end of the calendar year, well in advance of when we were going to exhaust those plot types. I also provided information in the memo for you. We're going to get about just shy of 1,500 plots at Killeen, just over 1,000 at Corpus Christi, and 1,200 at Abilene, and that will be sufficient to last us at least 10 years at all three of those cemeteries. Subject to your questions.
All right, hearing none, let me say thank you. There's a lot of work, a lot of dollars going into these cemeteries as well. I appreciate everything you've done to keep these the best in the nation.
Yes, sir. I give credit to my on-site representatives and the cemetery staff. They do fantastic work.
Actually, I have a quick question. Mr. Havens' comment made me realize I don't know something. Is there recognition that Texas can get for the high quality of its cemeteries and being the best in the country? We know they are anyway, but is there any way to let everybody else know?
Yes, sir. I can tell you there's a formal evaluation process. In fact, we've been notified. It was put on hold during COVID years. And so we kind of fell behind, and now the VA is trying to catch up. So we will actually be going through formal inspection the 8th and 9th of November at our Rio Grande Valley State Veteran Cemetery, the 6th and 7th of December at the Texas State Veteran Cemetery in Abilene, and then 2 and 3 May next year at the Coastal Bend State Veteran Cemetery in Corpus Christi. So there are two scoring standards. One is the desire to pass, which requires a certain minimum score. And then what we all aspire to at the four cemeteries is to achieve what's called shrine status, which is an even higher standard of score in those inspections. So that's what we're aiming at. If we are to achieve that, of course, that would be recognition from the Veterans Administration, the National Cemetery Administration, of the very high standards that we maintain. Regardless of whether we actually get that at the time or not, that's what we're aiming for, and that's what we work towards.
Well, having that recognition, and also the new work with all the communities that are teaming up with us to maintain our cemeteries is a win-win situation, and it's something that the veterans can feel good about, but also the communities and just Texans in general.
Yes, sir. Could not agree more.
Good. Thank you.
All right, thank you. There being no further business before the Veterans Land Board, the meeting is hereby adjourned.
Thank you.